Got some black over here. Alright, so today I figured I'd do a video where I have some Peruvian snacks, but also I talk about the existence of aliens and like possible theories and actual like science. It's gonna be interesting. This is what I'm talking about. You see these? These are the bomb.
Okay.
So first I wanted to cover some of like the more crazy ideas and theories about aliens and just like my opinion on them. Obviously things like crop circles and like alien probes are probably not as likely to be true because let's face it, there's a lot of people who have a lot of time on their hands and just want to do things to get attention, and that's just like, it's always been a thing. It's always been a thing. One of the theories I do want to talk about though is one that's actually really interesting. It's like this theory that in the comet that wiped out the dinosaurs, there may have been some alien bacteria which evolved to one day become us. So this theory actually isn't so far from being true, you know. It certainly is something that can be debated on a lot. It's a theory that it's one of the we might be alien theories that has a bit more of like a fact kind of to it, because it's not as outlandish as saying you know, the aliens came to Earth to help the Egyptians build the pyramids, which, by the way, sidebar, if you go to like one of these world monuments like Machu Picchu that the Incas built, or the Great Pyramids that the ancient Egyptians built, it's very it's very rude to just like be an American or whatever in like this foreign place and just like disrespect this person's culture like straight up there. Like when I went to Machu Picchu, there were some like people there who were like, oh man, yeah, the aliens totally helped them make this. I'm getting over a cold, help me, I'm dying. The aliens are killing me. But yeah, like it's not improbable to think perhaps some sort of alien life form did help these people, but you gotta think like why? Why would like aliens go out of their way to build things for humans or like help them with their technology? There's like no, some people say that they're like devices for when the time is right or something, and those theories just don't really have as much ground as the comet theory that is a little bit more plausible if you're going to believe that we are aliens of some sort, you know? It's like, no, we are not like half alien because aliens came and like visited and decided to like mix with the locals. As for my personal opinion, I don't think like either of these things are plausible. I think that alien bacteria, if it were to come here, would not, unless it was like, the circumstances, mathematically and scientifically, the odds are very slim that an interstellar life form could both survive the crash of the comet and then as well as the new environment that was created. And it's just, there's like a lot more that goes into this than simply evolution works in mysterious ways. Who knows about that science junk? Because there are people who do know about that science junk, and it's like something that's generally not very plausible. The aliens definitely made this drink because it's black. Who can explain why? Next, I kind of wanted to like discuss abduction stories and Roswell and people seeing things in the night. So the thing about Roswell is that Roswell is a very famous American UFO crashing. Okay, it was supposedly a UFO that crashed in this city in New Mexico, right outside of Roswell on this farm. Now, when you think about the setting and the time period, this was in about the 1940s after a war. The U.S. is doing a lot of secret stuff. They're doing basically what they claim was the ship found on Roswell, the farm. The government claims that the wreckage and the materials found were of a crashed weather balloon. Now, because we don't have any remaining materials, because the government quickly came in and swept it all up, it does make it a little sketchy, and it does make it a little hard to tell just what those materials were. They were described by locals as not of anything from this earth. And to some extent, eyewitness testimony is really great in court, but it's really bad in science. Alright? No scientist is going to believe, yeah man, I done saw it with my own two eyes. I seen those aliens. I seen their bodies. They're out there, so I feel like if this incident were to happen today, which is unlikely because part of what I think happened was the US was trying to kind of make a bit of a distraction. At least the people were. The people were very unsettled about this war that was going on. The farmers perhaps weren't making as much as they were before. They needed some kind of media coverage. Who knows? But if this were to happen today, I feel the evidence would be a lot more conclusive, because I feel like people would actually do a lot more tests. Anyway, like I was saying, there would be more pressure on the government, because people, rather than just accepting this, would investigate for themselves. Somebody would have smuggled out some of that material and then given it to his scientist pal, or maybe the local meth chemist. Who knows? But point is, a lot more research would be done on these materials that were found there, and there would be video evidence. There would be just more evidence to show, you know, whether or not this was an actual thing, which I don't believe it was an actual thing. You see that? It's delicious right there. You just gotta... My sister keeps jeopardizing this moment for me. She doesn't want... She's an alien. She doesn't want the government to know. Anyway, then we move on to, like, abduction stories. Now, I want to divide abduction stories into basically two categories, which is, like... Two categories. The batshit crazy. Stop it! Do you see this child? She's been jeopardizing my entire video so far. She's been coughing, she's been interrupting, she's been showing up in the background doing stuff. What are we gonna do? I can't work in these conditions. Anyway, there's the batshit crazy, and then there's the somewhat plausible. So, typical symptoms of an alien abduction include lost time that you can't account for. For example, you remember going out to the movie theaters with your friends, and then you say goodbye to your friends, and you take a cab home. But from the time the movie ended to the time you actually get home, you realize that it's been like hours in between, right? That's done. I'm a very healthy individual, okay? Anyway, the next thing is finding probes. Now, a lot of these are just like so easily faked as glass that some idiot decided to just like stick under their skin. Sometimes they're in their ass. Like, some of these reports are just crazy. It's like, what would an alien want to do with your ass? But there are some cases which are very compelling, and those are the cases in which people don't report any symptoms other than the probe, which they don't even find out until years after. There have been reports of people who have gone to get just routine procedures at the doctor, you know, just a typical like MRI scan or an X-ray or something, and they reported material found under the skin, which cannot be identified. Of course, this could be a variety of things. This could be either whoever's trying to identify these materials is just really dumb. It could be materials that have gotten under the skin. Perhaps if people, I know a lot of people who work in construction often get like little shards of metals and things under the skin, little glass things, and things. By the way, splinters that are not made of organic material do not make their way out of your body. Alright, here's an example. Alright, I was not probed. This is not a probe. But this is, I don't know if you can see it, hold on. There's like, camera is doing a shit job at picking it up. But I have a little dot here in my pinky, and that was from when I got a metal splinter in my hand in 4th grade. And things like that, inorganic materials don't make their way right out of the skin sometimes. So in cases where the people have found probes of inorganic material under their skin, this is the logical explanation for it. It's because things that aren't wood or plant matter aren't immediately rejected by the body. So skin and tissue continues to grow over it. So that is an explanation for the probes, which are made of materials that are identified. But for things that aren't identified, it's a bit trickier because you don't really know what are those, you know? They could be alien probes. But if they were alien probes, you would figure they'd be a little more practical than what they are. These probes people have found leave a mark. So they'll notice like a lump under the skin or something, you know? I figured if the aliens were really trying to go unnoticed and unseen and probe these people without them noticing, why would they make their probes noticeable? You know, it's just not logical, and I think that these people either accidentally or willingly have faked these things just to get a lot of media coverage and attention. I'm really making a video about aliens on the internet. This is the only time she hugs me, you know? When I'm filming.
No.
Yeah.
No. That's not the only.
Alright, I'm done talking about the dumb theories. Let's move on to the actually intelligent stuff, please. So it is a fact that the universe is large, alright? The universe, a lot of people don't think about it because honestly, everyone's busy with their daily lives. Who has the time to think about these kinds of things? But the universe is gigantic. It is huge, alright? The known universe, which is just what we know, there is more beyond this. The known universe is 93 billion light years, or 10 trillion kilometers in diameter, alright? This is a trillion, alright? That's 18 zeros. 10 trillion, like that is a big ass number. Alright? And then you gotta think about it. You gotta think about it in terms of like the fact that even the billion, alright? Billion is still a lot. That's like 12 zeros. light years. Alright? That means even going at the speed of light, which is almost instantaneous, it still takes a year. That is the measurement, okay? So, you gotta think about how inconceivably large that is. So now that we know that what we know is so inconceivably large, you gotta think about the fact that there's more. There is more than that. Anyway, everybody knows that, alright? I'm just like trying to, why must this house be so loud? But yeah, I'm just trying to like put this into perspective here for the next thing I gotta say. So anyway, due to the fact that the world, the universe, is so damn huge, you gotta account for the fact that, like, mathematically, statistically speaking, we're definitely not alone in being life forms in general. There's definitely out there some sort of life. Whether it's plant life or animal life, it definitely exists. So that would technically classify as an alien. So, based on hard evidence, aliens do exist, but they're probably not the aliens that we always think of. The sheer fact that humans are the way we are is honestly, like, so many specific things had to be at play for us to evolve the way we did and in the society we have, in the world that we live in. And a lot of it had to do with the environmental things, you know. In the known universe, which is huge, still not the whole thing, but what we know, we still have yet to find another planet that has the replicated exact conditions of Earth. Statistically, it does exist somewhere in the universe. We don't know where, but it's out there. Due to the fact that such specific things were, such specific requirements for this life that we now know are needed, it's unlikely that aliens would look like us unless the comet theory is true, in which case aliens are us. Would that still make us aliens if we were, I guess, through the evolutionary process, we would more be distant relatives to those bacteria rather than directly descended to those bacterias. So technically, I gotta drink some more Coke for this. I can't. Some more black, excuse me. We gotta get the juices flowing. But yeah, like I was trying to say, if there are aliens, they're gonna be greatly different from us. There may be some similarities, but they would definitely be different. They might not be hominids, you know, they might have followed a different evolutionary path in which they're avian, alright? Maybe they're weird, bald, we're bald apes, basically. We're just big bald bipedal apes. Maybe they're big bald bipedal chicken people, alright? Who knows? But are they little gray men with oblong heads and big eyes? Most likely not. The stereotypical alien is really iconic and really fun to think about, but it's probably really far from the truth, unfortunately. Alright, so we have our aliens now. Now we gotta think about their society. So, if there are aliens that have evolved to be intelligent life forms, you know, because there's definitely aliens that are not, you know, there's definitely some sort of bacteria out there, maybe even a plant or two, maybe something that is a mixture of both, that doesn't exist on Earth because we don't have the right conditions. Maybe it's a new kind of life form that we can't have on Earth because it's not the right conditions. Who knows? But if there were other life out in the universe that just so happened to be intelligent life, how intelligent would that life have to be in order to come visit us? Now, this is why I don't believe that aliens have visited us, alright? If there were aliens who were sufficiently intelligent enough to invent space travel that is beyond our current technology, which, by the way, is very primitive, and we're like, as humans, because we're the only intelligent, really intelligent species on this earth, we're the only things that have space travel, so far, right? So, ours is like the most advanced, but it's still very primitive compared to a theoretical alien society who would be able to visit us, okay? Because if these aliens exist, they would have to be outside of our Milky Way, possibly outside of our known universe, in the unknown universe. So then they would have to travel a lot farther than currently possible to us. So they would have to be way more intellectually evolved than us. That brings me to my next point, which is my favorite point ever about aliens, which was brought up by the very famous astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson. And he was once giving this talk in which he talked about alien intelligence and alien life and how it would have to be so sophisticated that human intelligence would pale in comparison. He made a very good analogy. Basically what his analogy was, okay? Here on Earth, the next most intelligent being, race, I guess, species, to humans are the apes, you know, the great apes, chimpanzees, gorillas, you know, all that jazz. The very, very smartest of these intelligent beings is as smart as one of our toddlers. So, given this perspective, if this superior alien species were to theoretically exist, the kind that would be able to, you know, travel between our Earth and theirs, our intelligence compared to theirs would be the same as, you know, a chimp compared to a human. So, you know, one of his jokes he made was, he was like, oh yeah, you know, Alien Jimmy, oh man, he just came home from grade school, you know, he was doing quantum mechanics, man. We're gonna put that up on the fridge. Silly old Jimmy. Oh man, he has so much more to learn. You go, you visit Earth, and they're like, give us your most intelligent, or whatever other language, you know, alien language. And we present him with, like, you know, Stephen Hawking, or you know, any, you know, if it were back in the day, you know, Albert Einstein, you know, somebody of superior mathematical and scientific intellect beyond the rest of us, you know. People who are geniuses would still be, in comparison to them, like their children, like their toddlers. That's kind of scary to think about, you know? If there are aliens that have visited Earth, or that's frequently, you know, travel intergalactically, they are so much more advanced. You know, they've invented ways that are faster than our space travel, you know? Light seconds, light nanoseconds, perhaps. In order to travel the way that they would have to travel, they would have to invent crafts that are virtually indestructible. I mean, there's a lot of crazy stuff out in space, you know, the vacuum of space. Unless they're evolved to that kind of thing. It's fucked up. Oh, and by the way, there are some people who believe there are more than one kind of alien that has visited Earth. So, then, with that knowledge, you know, with that that theory that many aliens have visited Earth, you then have to take into account how much more intelligent those aliens perhaps are. Maybe there's a hierarchy, you know? Maybe there's like a system. Maybe there's an intergalactic bureaucracy. So, with all that scientific junk out of the way, knowing that, we revisit Roswell, right? And we can talk about how that one guy said that those materials he saw, he'd never seen on Earth before. And some describe it as a metal that was like paper, right? It was like, it felt like paper, it bent like paper, it crinkled like paper, but it was still indestructible. So, now that we know all we know about aliens and how, well, theoretically, how much more intelligent they would be, it's not implausible that they would have this kind of technology. But, if they did have this kind of technology, what kind of idiot alien is crashing into Earth, of all places? But, hell, why would they visit Earth? Alright, if maybe we're like a zoo to them, maybe we're some alien kid's art project, you know, he's like, oh man, you know, I gotta visit one of those one of those ape planets, man. Man, there's like 5 over there in that galaxy. I'm getting off topic, but just the main focus of this is like, who knows? Nobody knows. But there's a lot of contradictions everywhere in the theories, and the only thing we know for certain is we don't know. There's people that think the government knows and is hiding things, and that perhaps we have contact with over 2,000 different alien life forms, and that the government kind of like regulates these kinds of things. But back to my other point, why would the aliens want to interact with us if they're so intellectually superior? The only thing I could think of is perhaps trade, even though their things might be way better, you know? So perhaps entertainment, you know? Maybe we're like a zoo for them. They like to just swing by and be like, hey, look at these silly guys. Oh man, they haven't even invented intergalactic travel yet. Ah, oh, so cute. Look at them. Oh man, look at that one. He's riding a bike. Oh, so cute. And now I'm out of snacks. So thanks for entertaining the idea of aliens with me. And I didn't go more in depth. I think I went a little too in depth with the science, but not really the lore. But hope I entertained you in some way. Goodbye.